Hello and welcome to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. I'm Silver here as always, and this week we got our other co-host returning.
Yeah, hello.
You just sounded like an 80-year-old woman there.
Yeah, hello. It's glad to be back.
Our chaotic is back.
Yes. Yeah.
This week we are talking about the Church Grim,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
or there's a couple other different names for it.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Church Grim?
I am not with the Church Grim. Please explain.
The Church Grim is a grim, and it's also sometimes, well, it is also called the Shirko Grim,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Swedish name for it. Would you
Okay.
like to know how would you guess that Shirko Grim is spelled?
I don't know. I feel like whatever I say now is going to be wrong, though. Mm. Inform me how it's spelled so I can be weirded out.
Okay, so I had to actually go get help on pronunciation for this because through
Uh-huh.
one of my Swedish friends through Discord, Chef
Uh-huh.
Dave Kitty, and I put it in the chat here. Would you like to spell that out to the listeners?
Sure. Give me just a second. It is KYRKOGRIM. It looks like Kiriko Grim. We got
that
Overwatch
was
players.
yeah, that was my first guess at the name as well. I was educated on the KYR is like a sheer sound,
Mm-hmm.
so it's Sheerco Grim,
Interesting.
which is actually a little bit more information if you look up Sheerco Grim than if you
Uh-huh.
look up Church Grim.
Huh.
So you said you didn't know much about the Grim?
I know about some of the Grim, but I've never heard of the Church Grim. So maybe I just am slacking.
What type of Grim were you thinking of?
I want you to continue with what you're continuing with, and then at the very end I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
Okay, because you gave me the topic name, and I thought I chose the right creatures.
No, you're fine. I wanna hear how this goes before I say anything.
Okay, so the Church Grim or Shirko Grim usually comes in the form of a black dog,
Mm-hmm.
and but it could also be any other animal, really. But the most common is a black dog, black horse, three-legged white lamb.
Okay.
So the Church Grim's job was to protect the cemetery
Mm-hmm.
of the churches, and in order to get a Church Grim that would protect you, it would have to be the first thing buried in the cemetery alive.
So you had to bury the Grim first, like before you did anything else.
You had to bury an actual animal or human alive in the
Mm,
cemetery first.
interesting.
And this would protect the cemetery and church from the devil, from people who want to, you know, grave dig. Usually it'd be animals buried, but sometimes, rarely, there was cases of humans being buried
Mm-hmm.
in order to make them be the church grim. Sometimes the church grim is also seen as a omen of death. It would ring the church bells in order to signify impending or inescapable death.
Mm-hmm. What a terrifying thing to think about, just this dog ringing church bells.
Hmm. It could also be a lamb or
Oh yeah, I mean that's fair. But I usually picture the dog.
Yeah, that's the most common way. Sometimes he would also show up during funerals in order to signify whether the person who died is going to heaven or hell.
That's interesting.
That's pretty much all there is about it.
That's pretty good though. That's quite a bit of information. I mean, that's generally what I know it as. The Grim usually is some kind of like a foreshadow of death, like appears when things are grim or deadly. Tends to be an omen of types, protects hollowed grounds or holy areas. That's pretty much what I found. Just wasn't called the Church Grim, so I'm just broken, I guess.
I think most people call it by Grim. When I was looking things up, the church Grim pulled up a lot more than just Grim.
Uh-huh.
You like to do media?
Sure. I'm interested to see what kind of media you found, actually.
So going on the media, some of the stories and things I found with the Grim in it
Mm-hmm.
was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Uh-huh.
We have The Church Grim by Eden Phillippspot. It's a short story. The Last of the Giant Killers, published in 1891. The story that like section of stories included Jack and the Giant Killer, where he defeats a evil church grim that has this in the shape of a goat.
In the shape of a goat.
hmm And the most recent one that I know of is the best grim familiar,
Mm-hmm.
Ruth from The Ancient Magus Bride,
Huh.
which is an anime that I really like. It's on its new season now. Ruth takes the form of a black dog.
Interesting. I've been wanting to view that anime, so that's good to know.
I highly recommend it. Most of it's in English now too, even if you want to listen in the dub version.
Okay, okay.
Then there's an old story that involves the Grim and a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this town. They kept trying to build this bridge over the water, but they kept failing and it kept collapsing. So they ended up making a deal with the devil. And the devil would construct the bridge for them. But the first living thing to cross the bridge would lose its soul to the devil. So after the bridge was done constructed, the town had a good idea. They sent the farmer like swimming across the water to get to the other side of the bridge. Then the farmer called his dog across the bridge.
Across the bridge.
Yep.
Okay.
So when the dog crossed the bridge, it being the first living thing to cross it, it lost its soul to the devil and became the church, became a grim. And then they named the bridge the Kilgrim Bridge, which later got renamed, I believe, to the Kilgram Bridge, or vice versa.
Okay.
It's an actual place, and that was kind of all I had.
That sounds about right. I really didn't find a whole lot either when I was looking through my notes.
It's gonna be a short episode.
It is. The Grim is fairly short, but it's very unique. Like there's not a lot of like lores that are just like everything's got like a purpose or like a vendetta or like and the Grim's literally just there to do its job at the cemetery. Like it's just that's what it is. You could like delve deeper. I'm sure if we like sat down and talked to somebody who does like leaf reading, like tea leaf reading, or like a little bit more of like the actual like omens and signs in magic, it would be a really really interesting like definition to get from them, like how they see the Grim, because it is like a symbol in a lot of things, and it brings forth like it's like a harbinger, so it's like it has it's kind of open ended, I guess. You could like take there's so much not written about it, somebody really could take it and like make some really cool stories out of it and stuff, so it'd be really neat to see those kind of come to light.
I didn't really delve too much into the magic side of it. I was more looking towards the folklore. I didn't really know what to search for in the divination part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the churches I was talking about were mostly Christian churches. They were the ones sacrificing the burying the living animals under their foundation stones. I guess on the mayhem.
Yes.
So mayhem wise, where do you think the Grim would be in our school setting?
Uh, I feel like the Grim is an emo kid. I feel like it has to be like a goth kid. But it's
Okay.
like the cool, chill, like protector goth kid. So like somebody's getting bullied. It's the goth kid that stands up that nobody expects to stand up, and they're like, "Don't do that." So like a little mix of like hero and you know.
Yeah. He'd probably be found hanging out in the cemeteries around the college,
Mm-hmm.
just hanging out. It's quiet there.
For sure. Very ominous. He can draw and like journal all of his heavy emotions.
Mhm. Would it be emo or scene or goth, emo or scene?
It's definitely more emo goth. It's more emo goth
Okay,
leaning. Cause scene was more of like the outfit choices. Emo goth was
true.
more of a personality choice. Cause I was emo goth but never did the scene stuff. Like I never had like crazy hair like that or like did all the colors or but I was still like emo goth.
The church Grim is the goth version of the golden retriever boy.
Yes. That's perfect. So it's Silver if he was goth.
I am goth.
No, you're not. Don't you do not look at me and lie. Yep. Mm-hmm. If everybody could have
Uh-huh.
just seen the behavior that just
Yeah.
happened, you would have seen the golden retriever. I just need you to know that. Majestic. Such a shame that it's an audio only show.
Audio only show. No one, everybody knows that I am goth.
Oh yeah. If you guys think Silver is goth, please leave a review or a comment telling him he's a liar. Because he is a liar.
Okay, so expanding our universe from the college lifestyle of the Grim, what do you think mayhem wise out in the world would be like?
Uh, I feel like if we only have like one per graveyard, it's not that crazy. However, if we like had to restart graveyards and we're just starting to bury things alive again, that could be pretty chaotic.
Maybe there is a bunch of Grims, but maybe the first thing that accidentally got buried was like an earthworm or something. So there's this little tiny earthworm Grim coming after
Mm-hmm.
people. It
Mm-hmm.
just takes forever to get to him.
Yeah. That'd be funny. That'd be kind of but what if wouldn't it turn into like the Alaskan bullworm?
That is a possibility.
I don't like that. I didn't like how long you thought about that, and I didn't like that it came out of my mouth. It was not a vibe.
It's that that's how the movie Tremors came around,
Grimm's in the shape of an earthworm.
or a giant beetle. I think insects would be worse than anything else. Give me a three-legged lamb or a dog any days. Get like a Hercules beetle that grows in size. That'd probably be that'd be cool, not fun. I think it'd be a low terror situation. You just gotta be respectful of the cemeteries. Plus, most churches aren't in cemeteries anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Well,
any other mayhem you can think of?
um, not really.
So we just got a good puppy doing his job,
Yep,
and or other animal.
yep. Mostly puppers.
All right, then I guess we'll move on to thanking our patrons.
Let's go.
Thank you, Mage, Mondi, Ruby, for the support and any notifications. Chaotic.
I am no longer quitting streaming, so there's that. I got roundhouse kicked to the face by Dead by Daylight, so I guess I'm staying.
They're like, come back, and they're like, here's Chucky.
Right, and then yeah, toxic as hell, honestly. But no, that's it. I'm trying to think if I have anything special happening before this comes out, but I do not think I do. I think that's it. I think that's all.
Second episode of the Mythic Gates should be out by the time this comes out.
Let's go.
I think these both both released on Wednesday. Did I
Yes.
release it last Wednesday?
I don't
I don't remember.
know. I don't know.
So, with that, would you like to wrap up this bite-sized episode?
Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Chaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Chaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter, following even more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we might get into.